My name is Carel and this is Paint with Faith. We're a motivational painting company. We believe that you can do all things and we want you to believe it too. So, before we get started, I need to know that you believe in yourself. So repeat after me. If I believe, I can achieve. Okay, that was okay, but I need you to be a little more convincing. Let's try that again. If I believe, I can achieve. That was much better. See, we believe that there are no mistakes in art, only room for more opportunity. So if you feel like you've made a mistake, if you've accidentally put a little extra paint on the canvas, don't worry, because there are no mistakes. And this is actually called a canvas because it's going to keep reminding you that you can do it. So I need everyone to snap your fingers just like this. Snap with me. If you hear anyone saying, I can't do this, or if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not an artist, or this is too hard for me, I need you to just snap your fingers and snap out that negative energy. Because today, we're painting in a space with pure positivity. With that being said, who's ready to paint? So what we need to do first is to make sure we have all our supplies. So you're gonna need 2 paintbrushes, paint of course, your canvas, a plate or palette to mix your paint on, a washcloth or some paper towels to dry your brushes, and a cup of water to wash your brushes. Do you have all those items? Great, let's get started. So first, we're gonna need to make some light gray. Do you know what 2 colors makes the color gray? Black and white, right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our big brush and we're just gonna take a little bit of white and separate that to a clean part of your plate. And then we're gonna take just a little bit of like a dot of black, not too much. And we're just gonna mix that into the white. It's better to start off light because then if it's too light, you can always go back and add more black. But you don't want it too dark either. Just a nice light gray. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take that gray and somewhere about halfway down the canvas, we're just gonna draw a gray line going all the way across. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're gonna make 2 dots around the center, about 1 inch apart. And you're gonna hold your brush like this. And we're just gonna use the tip of the brush and make kind of like a zigzag line going all the way down. But you wanna kind of gradually go outwards, like you're making a triangle almost. And we're gonna do the same thing from that other dot. And we're just gonna do a zigzag line. Just go back and forth. Perfect. You guys are doing so good already. So what we're gonna do next is, with the gray, we're gonna make some gray strokes just like that at the top half of the canvas. But in the center, somewhere here, you want to leave a little bit of white. Somewhere here, kind of make it into like an N shape. So we're gonna fill in all the space around. Just imagine an N shape. And it's okay if it's not perfect, it doesn't need to be perfect. And you don't need to keep free dipping your brush because we just want some strokes like that, going up and down, in an up and down motion. Make sure you're not making it too solid because we don't want it filled in completely. In art, this is called the negative space. Any white part of the canvas is going to be the negative space. So what we want to do is we want some of that negative space to show through the gray. And that's okay because in life, we're always going to be in negative situations, but at the end of the day, those only make us stronger, right? Well, that's the same thing with our painting. The negative space at the end will give us a greater outcome and our painting will look a lot better. Now we're going to do the same thing to only the middle, that middle section at the bottom. But this time, instead of going up and down, we're going to go from side to side, just back and forth from left to right, just like that. And you want to just fill in that whole section. Remember, don't put too much paint on your paintbrush because you just want some light strokes going across. Now we're gonna take some white and we're just gonna lighten up this middle area. So if your end wasn't perfect, that's okay. So we're just gonna add some white and just lighten up those strokes that are around the center. And you can go ahead and just use the white to lighten that line in the middle, right at the center, and just go in the side to side motion again and just lighten up the top of this middle section. And it's okay if you have some lighter areas or some darker areas, that's completely fine. That's what we want. So now we're gonna darken our gray just a little bit. And if you have to mix some more gray, that's fine. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a little bit of black to our gray, just to get a little darker gray. And just mix that until you get a nice medium shade of gray. And we're gonna do the same thing. So at the bottom here, in the same side to side motion, the bottom of the middle section, just make some quick lines going across, and you want it to just gradually blend in. Not too much, just a little. Just quick flicks. And we're gonna do that to the top, but we're gonna do it to just the upper corners. And remember, at the top, we're going in an up and down motion with our brush. So we're just gonna put some darker areas here in this corner. And some darker areas in this corner. And it's okay if you go somewhere in the center too, that's fine, but you want to stay closer to the corners. And remember, you don't need to keep redipping your brush, you only need a little bit. Just go up and down. Perfect. You guys are doing great. Now, we need to make pink. Does anyone remember how to make pink? What two colors do we need? Red and white. Good job. So, go ahead and wash your brushes. And just dry it off on the washcloth. And we're gonna take some red. Just put that to another clean place on your plate. And then we're gonna take a little bit of white and just mix that into the red. And we want a nice bright pink, not too light. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill in this white space on both sides of the center at the bottom. So we're just gonna fill that in with our pink. Just fill it in completely. And it's okay to go over that gray line that you made at the beginning. But just make sure you follow that motion of the zigzag that you made. That same motion. Because you want to keep that line where the pink meets the gray. You want to keep that kind of rugged. You don't want it too straight. And once you've finished the first side, let's go ahead and do the other side. The same thing. Just fill that in with the pink. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. There are no mistakes. So if you accidentally go over this gray line, if your zigzag is different, that's fine. This part you don't really have to think about too much. Don't overthink it. We're just filling in that negative space. Now, let's just add a little bit of color to the top. So we're gonna make a light blue. So go ahead and wash your big brush and dry it. And we're gonna take some white because we want it to be very light, and just put that to a different part of your plate or your palette. And then just take just a dot of blue and then just mix that into the white. We just want a nice light blue color. Just like that. And what we're gonna do is, to the top section, we're just gonna put some blue strokes over that gray. And you can start at the bottom where the pink meets that space, and you can blend a little pink into the blue. Just go up and down and it'll blend out. And just put some blue strokes throughout that section, wherever you feel. Art is about feeling too, so it's wherever you feel like there should be some blue. Try to put most of it towards the bottom half, where that space meets the pink. Now let's take our little brush and we're gonna take some black. Make sure you don't have too much paint on your paintbrush because it'll make it a little harder to do this part. Now somewhere in the center of this white lighter space, somewhere in that middle, we're gonna make just a small curved line. Kind of like a sad face. It's easier if you use one of the edges, either this edge or this edge, and just make that small curved sad face. Then from the end of the sad face, we're gonna make a line going outwards. And do that to the other side as well. Just go outwards a little. You don't need to go too far out. And it's okay if this line isn't perfect. And then just connect those two at the bottom. Kind of like a rounded triangular shape. Next, we're gonna start a little bit inwards. So not right at the tip right here. We're gonna go a little inwards, maybe to right there. And we're just gonna paint a line going down. And let's do that to the other side. Now we're gonna connect those two at the bottom, and we're gonna get a rectangular shape. Now, from the bottom corners of that rectangle, we're gonna go out again on both sides. And it's okay if that overlaps some of your pink, that's fine. Just go ahead and connect the bottom too. But this time, we're gonna connect it in a curved shape, kind of like a happy face. I know this is a little tricky, but you guys are doing so good. Just keep going. Now, in the center of the shape we've made, we're gonna go down again and make another little rectangle. But we want this to be a thin rectangle. And then just connect that at the bottom. And then we're just gonna fill this whole thing in with black. Can you tell what this is? Well, we'll see. Once you fill it in, we're gonna see what this turns into. And remember, it's okay if you go over those lines a little. There are no mistakes. What does this look like to you? It's the silhouette of a girl, right? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the same brush and leave a little bit of gap, just a little space under the girl. And we're gonna use the tip of the brush, just like that. And we're gonna do another back and forth zigzag motion. And this doesn't all have to connect. But just gradually make it wider and wider as you go towards the bottom. It's okay if some areas are thicker, some are thinner. That's what we want. And you want to go about maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches from the bottom and just stop there. We don't want to go all the way to the bottom. Now, while we have the black, we're just gonna go around this pink area and just make some small black strokes. You don't have to connect them all the way. Just want to put some every hair in there. And this is easier if you use the edge of your brush. Just do a light tapping motion. It's okay if you put some dots off of that pink as well. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Remember, just use a little bit of black because you don't want it smudging too much. Remember, we're just doing small tapping. I wish I could see yours. I know you guys are doing an amazing job. Now let's wash our brushes again. And this time we're going to take some blue and just a little above the girl, we're going to make a really big sad face. Just like that. You don't want to go too far at the top. Just give her a little bit of room. And then from the end, we're going to start from left to right. So on the left tip of that sad face, we're going to do another little sad face. And just make some sad faces until you get all the way across. And remember, they don't have to be perfect. And we're just going to fill in this whole area with blue. And this is going to be an umbrella. Just like that. And you can go over those sad faces that you made, just to define them a little more. But that's completely optional. Now, down here, we're going to take some blue, just a little bit, and we're going to do the same zigzag motion. And you can overlap that over the black. Remember, just use the tip of your paintbrush just to make some thin strokes. And you just want to go side to side, back and forth. Just like that. Now let's wash our small brush. And we're gonna just dip the corner of your brush into black. And we're gonna use that corner and just make a line from the bottom of the umbrella to the girl. And then just follow that line up to the top and make another, just a short line at the top. Perfect. You guys are doing amazing. Now when you're done, we're gonna go back to our light gray, and you can make some more if it dried or if you ran out. I'm gonna make some more here. So I'm just gonna take some white and put it where the gray was, and then take some black, just mix that in, and we want a light gray. And what we're going to do is from the pink, we're going to make a line going up. But make sure you hold your brush like this. Not like this, not like this. We're going to hold it like this. And we're just going to do a thin line going up. Stop at the umbrella if you're that close to it. And then just continue that line all the way up. And if you went a little bit through the umbrella, that's okay. We can fix that later. Just want a thin line. You can make it a little wider towards the bottom because these are going to be trees. Now let's do a couple more. So just do the same thing. And they don't have to be perfect. And just go all the way up. You can make some thicker, you can make some thinner. It's all up to you. You can even put branches going out like that, whatever you want. And then go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. And we're just gonna add a few more. These don't have to be perfect. Just remember to stop at the pink. Now, without re-dipping your brush, let's just add some light strokes, just some lines going down through this middle bottom section. You don't want it too bright, just Just like that, just some light lines. And you don't have to go all the way down. About 2 or 3 should be good. Mainly put it towards the lighter area at the top of this middle section. Now let's make this gray a little bit darker. So we're just gonna take a little bit more black and mix that into the gray. And we want this gray to be darker, but not black. We don't want too much black. Just like that. And now we're gonna go into the pink area, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna make lines going up. You can overlap the ones you just did, because this is gonna be the forest. And when you're looking in the forest, trees overlap each other. And towards the bottom, you can make the trunk a little bit wider and then just kind of drag some of that gray outwards, because sometimes we can see parts of the roots of the tree as well. And you can do the same thing to the other side. Just go a little bit into the pink. It doesn't have to be the same, at the same level as the other one. And we're just gonna do a darker gray line going up. These can be wider than the light gray ones that we just did. And these don't have to be straight either. These are called organic lines. So they're just gonna flow naturally. And then remember, at the bottom, you can just drag the roots out. We can do one more going off the canvas, just to fill up the background area. And this one goes off. You guys are doing such a good job. It's really coming to life. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some black and we're gonna go a little lower than these trees that we just did. And we're just gonna do the same thing one more time. And it's okay if some of that darker gray mixes with the black. As long as you can see the difference. I really like painting trees. Just making the trunk and the branches, it's really relaxing. Let's just put one more on the other side. And remember, you can add like a V shape just to have another branch going outwards. That's if you want. You can have your trees just going straight up. It's up to you. You can even start somewhere in the middle and have a thin branch going upwards like that. It doesn't matter. It's all your choice. Now we're gonna wash our brushes. Make sure you get all that black out of there, or as much as you can. And then go ahead and try it. And we're gonna make light pink. And this is the last color we're gonna mix. We're almost done. And you guys did such a good job the whole way. So we're gonna take some white. Just put that to a new place on your plate if you have an empty space. And then we're gonna take a little bit of red. Not too much. Remember, it's better to start off light. Just mix that into the white. You can always add more if it's not as pink as you want it. But remember, we want a nice light pink, just a pastel pink. And you don't have to mix it completely out into the white. It's okay if you still see some white in there. That's perfectly fine. And we're just gonna use our small brush and use the edge once again. And we're just gonna do a tapping motion over this red area. And you can go over the roots of the trees. You can go over those a little bit, but we just want some nice little leaves and grass over this red area. Could be flower petals, anything that's fallen off the trees. Just keep tapping. And you want the red to show too. You don't want to cover the red completely because that'll give it a nice contrast. Because when we look at the ground, whether it's grass or leaves or anywhere in the forest, there's always going to be some lighter areas and darker areas. Just keep tapping. It's okay if some areas have white, some are red, some are light pink. And once you get to the edges, you can even go into that gray a little. You can go a little over the black. You just want to keep tapping. You're doing an amazing job. We're almost there. And if you go a little bit over the tree or the girl, that's fine. We can always go back over that and fix it later. Just like that. And we're gonna do the same thing to the other side as well. So make sure you have enough pink. If not, you can always make some more. And just start tapping once again. Remember, you don't want too much paint on your brush because then it's not going to show the red as much. And we want that red there. You don't want it looking too muddy. And you can rotate your brush as you tap as well. You could tap this way, you could tap this way. You just want variety. A nice variety of taps. There's no need to rush. Just take your time and enjoy the tapping. Just watch as it fills in all that red space. All those darker areas where you're just gonna brighten them up with the light pink. Isn't that beautiful? Now, if you're done filling in all of the bottom with the pink, let's just add some of those taps to the top. And you can just go mainly in the upper corners. And just tap, just keep tapping. And if you feel like your pink is super light, or you just want the leaves on your trees to be brighter, you can just take just a little bit of red and just tap the red into that pink. And that should just blend together and give you some nice brighter areas. Just blend it out by tapping. And just do the same thing to the other side. And once again, this part, you don't have to overthink it. Just tap wherever you feel like it. Just release any negative energy you may still have, any stress, any worries, any anxiety. Just release that into your tapping. This could be in any shape that you want. There's no specific shape that you need to make it. Just keep tapping. You can go back and forth between pink, red, white, just to make it either darker or lighter, whatever you want. Now we need one last thing to give some value to our painting. What do you think that is? Your signature, right. So you can choose a color, any color you want. I'm gonna use black and just sign your artwork. And now we're done. Thank you so much for painting with me today. I hope you've seen what you can do if you just believe in yourself and put your mind to something. And you can do that with anything in your life, not just a painting. Remember, your life is a canvas. Paint it with faith.